So these are the physical pools on the storage arrays which we have discovered. And these are the
Ports.
Ports is basically used for networking, creating a SAN network type of thing. In the SAN terms, there is a word terms called initiator and targets. That's what we are discovering.
Type is FC.
Yeah. Type is private channel.
I'll add the fabric manager also.
So in SAN world, to connect the different storage system and host, you use the fabric manager. It's basically an interconnect of, interconnect which connects it to devices between each other. So Cisco and Brokerage, they are two vendors of these things. We have a simulator for Cisco.
Now we'll also discover a host. Basically the simulator, the same IP can be used as a host, but we will need to add some dummy ports because there's an entire simulator. So
You must be wondering, as a storage vendor, why we are discovering all host, network and other things. So actually speaking, that
same. Change me.
Copper had created a virtual data center for you. So in a data center, you have all the things, storage, network, host. These are the, some of the entities in the data center. When you are discovering it in the white copper, basically all
Not
the networks
mentioned.
we are discovering, and that's what we call it virtual data center. So as a basic entity is virtual data center. Within that we will have virtual arrays, we will have virtual pools. So you can see that our simulators are very powerful, and it's creating a completely data center within your small VM.
Virtual arrays. So this is where we abstract the physical storage. So you can create your own virtual array, you can give any name, and then you go into it and then you specify which are all the storage networks that gets added to it.
You have to add networks.
Yeah. So we go to the networks and we tag this virtual array, and then it becomes one more we should get here.
It's an IP network.
So again, because these are all the simulated topology, we have to build some networks over here. So what he has done, that network is attached to our virtual arrays. If we have a real devices, automatically this will be discovered and everything will be pre-configured.
Come down. Two networks.
Click.
So now
No,
earlier
no,
when you has not that network connected, no
Correct.
storage port was there.
Do you want to explain that a bit more?
So now you can see that in our virtual arrays we have got the access of the storage ports and storage ports. This number
It goes to the
48
next window.
and this one. So we have now created a virtual array which is really having the resource pool of 48 storage ports and storage ports.
These were all 0 before you added this virtual array in the network. I don't know if you all observed, all these were 0. So once this is done, then you go on and create a virtual pool.
So there are three types of pools we are creating. One is the block virtual pools. Block virtual pools are some sort of a block devices, block devices where you can do a raw read write. And then there is a file virtual pool where we have a file system SIFs or NFSs there. So for each type we have to create a different type of virtual pools.
You need to create one project also, otherwise it doesn't allow us to execute. So anything that you provision, create, normally is associated to one project. It's just a bucket for your reference.
Prabhu, when you created pools, could you show the policies which we are
Pools.
on which they can filter out?
In some of these things,
How do you show
if you are
them?
not 100%
எப்படி
absorbing
policy
it, don't
policy
worry too
எப்படி
much.
காமிக்கிறது?
That is when you create a
Even
pool.
for
Click
us,
on
it
this.
takes some time to get these concepts and how they are
Oh,
to
these.
use.
policies.
Ah, okay.
So don't expect to fully absorb it in a quick 30-minute session. As
What's
you
the
start
username,
working with
password?
the team,
Through
you
changing
will learn.
one
You
bank,
will learn
one
this,
bank.
right? Like why there is a project,
253.
why you need a virtual pool, why you need a virtual array,
Oh,
why
yeah.
these concepts are there. You'll figure it out. There are good reasons for it. Become evident a little later.
Policies.
So basically, what we are doing, we are creating a virtual pool and virtual arrays. When we say that we should do a policy-driven management of the storage. So how the policy will be defined? So when we have discovered the arrays, we have discovered the capabilities of the arrays also, and then once you have all the inventory of your resources, based on the capabilities which we are selecting, you can filter that. If you want only the arrays which has the flash capability or have the capability of multipathing, you select that option. Prabhu, can you go down? So there are a lot of options being there. As you go and make your filter more and more robust, the filtering will become more granular. Okay, it's like you have a big inventory. Out of that, you want to get a very fine storage arrays which meet all your requirements. It acts as a filter. So right now we have given that policies as not being selected, but we can do all of it.
So based on all these selections, then finally based on all these filters, whatever meets the criteria, finally those become the part of this pool.
When you say policy, for example, see, as in the morning he talked about flash array, they're super fast, okay? Magnetic arrays, they're slow. So administrator may need different kind of storage for different kind of requirement. So that's what we call as a policy. So it can be gold means super fast speed, silver, lighter, bronze. So these are different type of policy. So the policy is a variation of combination of performance, okay, like high availability. In the sense, high availability means if one goes down, there should be another backup, quick zero time recovery. So the policy is in terms of that only, availability and performance.
So the whole goal is that when you think of storage, you don't just think of physical hardware and what it's giving me. In a cloud, when you go ask storage in a cloud, many of you have mobile phones, you have taken some storage in the cloud or it came free. You didn't know what storage was underneath it. All you cared about actually is size. Okay? Now enterprise customers need a bit more than size. They want high performance or low performance or they want a geo-protected storage. So those qualities you can define in the virtual pools, and then people can just use them as to allocate storage, not having to bother what's in the underlying storage array. From your perspective, that's what is providing you the storage.
And just add out, if you go to Amazon also, when you try to purchase something, computing, there is availability 99%, 99.9, 99.99,
No, did you add the
596
initiator
times.
into the
See, as
list?
the number of lines keeps increasing, so the downtime is very, 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 very minimal. So that's a different type of policy. So based on that, your policy requirement, so what corporate is trying to do is, in your typical data center, you have different kind of storage. So what you need, you define the policy, that storage will be available.
I've covered the two concepts, creating the virtual pool and virtual arrays, which is from physical to virtual world we have. Now the second point which we saw, that was a storage as a service. So storage as a service is being done into our catalog service. Are you doing that?
Give me a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. Host port edana irukka? There are no
Go and
hosts.
add the code.
Maybe while he's doing that, we'll show them like, and not one host, you will have many hosts. Hosts are basically servers running databases and other applications which need storage like Exchange or whatever, right? And then you have a network, right? The SAN network that Manoj spoke about, which is made up of switches. And these switches are joined to each other in multiple topologies, which you will study when you
Send it
do,
to the chat.
and these hosts are connected to the switches, right? They're all connected to the switches. And finally, these switches are connected to arrays. Okay?
Send it.
So these are the Vmax arrays, the extreme IO arrays that we discovered. So in the step 1, we discovered these arrays. Then in the step 2, we discovered this, what we call fabric managers or this network. Right? In step 3, we are discovering the hosts. Because we need the end-to-end visibility into your data center in order to provision it. Now, in order to have this host
One more. Just
see
give
a
me the
disk
number.
here,
Okay, good.
there is magic that needs to happen here. There is magic you need to do in the switch,
Give the same
and there
name
is
also,
magic
so
you need to do on the
VM
host.
developer.
So once you have brought all these systems under the control of CoprHD, we will do that magic. When someone
Done.
says, give me 100 GB of gold class storage, that's all an administrator needs to say. Give me 100 GB of gold class. Gold class means you have a virtual pool named gold. Okay? We will go figure out from which array to select the gold class. There may be multiple arrays are possible. We will select the best fit for you. Once we select the array, we know how it is connected to the host. We will provision the path for you,
Say add host
like
ports.
from which path the access will happen to
Add
the
host
array.
port.
We'll make sure we do magic on the host to make
Say add.
it see that disk and mount the volume. So it's a very complex process which an administrator, and in fact not one admin is involved, because
What's it?
storage
Save
admin,
it, save
network
it.
admin, host admin are 3 different entities. Taking it to your IT department or lab administrator, and multiple people are involved, and it can take days and weeks. The point of having a self-service portal like Viper is that you can just, through one click, get all of this done. So what we will show you now is basically that magic happening, wherein we choose the right array which matches the gold class, and how we provision the path, and how on the host you can see the learn. Right? Got it?
I have, I'll go to that. So before that, what I've done is the host that we discovered, I've gone ahead and added ports for this. This did not have any ports because it's a simulated one. So I've gone ahead and added ports manually, dummy values. So once that is added, I've added that to the
Show how you have added that.
how I have. So
Later they will.
Click on
initiators,
Here also.
initiators, and then click on add. Then just have a dummy value handy, so you can just add this. I've added this and also changed one more value and added 2 ports.
So why we have to do this again, I'm saying, because we are simulating the environment, the network is not there. So when we do a discovery,
Actual
of our,
discovery.
Real data center, all networks and everything, this data will come. But here we have to create our own network. That's why he is adding that host initiator into our network.
What is host initiator? Someone tell me in this diagram, what is the port? Where is the port on the host?
Somebody said something. Yeah, it's
HVA, right? So it is this connection we are talking about to the network. We have to tell what this connection is, only then we can provision the path to the array. Not any host can talk to any array even if physical connection is there. Huh? You have to, there are some rules, there is security on the network. So you have to provision a path all the way from this port to this array port. So you need to know the ports in order to provision them. That's the port you are adding. You are adding this port, this HBA. Okay.
Onto the networks and added the host ports also to the network. So the network currently has the array ports and the host ports. So, and it is synced with the virtual array. So, here you go, and when you click on add, you get 3 options: add ports, host ports, and array ports. So, click on host ports, it's already displayed. You select these and you add it to the network.
So can you go back again on this? So
Two.
this numbering convention, that particular node host port.
This one.
The format of this is important, that it has to be
Mm.
same way. So you can note down if you want this number. Okay, it has to be in the same format. You have to be That's right. Yeah.
It's dummy, but it follows a rule.
No.
Then ready with your network. Then this is the service catalog. The service catalog is the interface to all the workflows that Viper provides. Various workflows for different kind of arrays, kind of storage, and whether you want to export it to a host. All these things are specified and categorized based on the type of service.
So one thing, Prabhu, before
Yeah.
you move further. So I think it's very important to understand whatever we did till now to whatever Prabhu is going to show you now. In Viper or Copperhead terms, all the operations done till now are done by administrator. Typically a storage administrator, to bring storage on network and hosts under the management of Viper. It requires systems root credentials. So all that work is done by a storage administrator. Storage administrator also says that I want to create gold class of service, silver class of service for my end users. Someone who wants high performance, gold class. Someone who wants medium, silver. Someone who wants low, bronze. So they create all that. This work is done by storage administrators. Now their work is over. In fact, certain Viper users, which are called the normal users, when they log into the system, all they will see is this self-service portal to request what they need. They don't need to bother themselves with what storage systems were discovered, what classes of service were created, or what networks were added. All that work has been done now, completed by Prabhu. Prabhu is the storage administrator. Now Prabhu in his new avatar is logging into the system with a different ID. Now we are not using different ID, sorry about that. But this ID only sees the self-service portal. It's like Amazon administrator has set up all the storage in the data center and brought it under the control of AWS. When you log in, all you see is the ability to order storage. So this is that user. Okay, typically what we call a tenant user. That user is now logging in, and he's going to show how that user can order storage for themselves.
Any questions?
So it has a lot of options. First time being, you guys have to focus on block and file services. All other, like we have a VC service, we have some other services, AIX service. Just don't worry about that. You may have to only work on block services, and there is file services. So just keep focus on that for time being.
Shall we run the workflow?
Yeah.
So because we have discovered block storage, I'm going to choose the create block volume for a host. So it creates.
In this thing, this is very important. Now, what Sandeep has described, that if you look at the options, create, go back. Create a block volume for a host. So it means how it happen. Create block volume over here. Means basically a block volume is called a LUN in our technology. Create a LUN over here. Export it over the host. Okay, that's what is the whole. So this workflow, first workflow is very, very important, and I think I'll suggest you focus on that.
So you have the option to choose your host. Since we have only one added in each of these categories, not much to choose, but you can choose your virtual array, virtual pool project, and then you give the name of the volume, and the GB, how many GBs you want to allocate for that. Click on order. So they should ideally be over in maybe 2 minutes.
So
Based
you
on
see
my-
here, this is called our catalog service. So now we are using storage as a service. Just give
Yeah.
Steps.
Tasks. Huh?
Yeah, the tasks. The tasks. Already we created the volume on the array. That's complete. Now we are, exporting it to host.
So these are the 4 different operations, execution steps that it's done. There's a pre-check step, the host, whether it's reachable, available. Then you have creating the block volume. It has the details of the volume that